Hello, everybody. Okay, so today we are going to get into the Congress of Vienna, and basically, it's Napoleon's out, but then he comes back for a little bit, and then he's gone. And so, what are we supposed to do in Europe? Okay, here we go. So, what is the main idea here? Basically, it's Russia, Prussia, Great Britain, and Austria get together to figure out what we are supposed to do in Europe now that Napoleon is gone, and should France keep anything, and what should we do to France, and it's a pretty big undertaking. Now, very quickly, they are going to actually to restore the Bourbon kings back to the throne of France, and that will be King Louis the 18th. And we all remember how well the last Louis worked out, but hey, they kind of want a puppet, and these things happen. So, the guy that runs the show, fantastic name, Prince Clemens von Metternich, or Metternich, but I think it's Metternich, of Austria, and he was a rather confident fellow, a quote from him, of himself, that is. He says, "There is a wide sweep about my mind. I am always above and beyond the preoccupation of most public men. I cover ground much vaster than they can see. I cannot keep myself from saying it about 20 times a day, how right I am and how wrong they are." So, I guess it's good that he's confident. And he is basically like a prime minister in Austria, okay? So, basically, we are going to run things over this concept of quote-unquote legitimacy. And the whole idea here, the guiding force behind this is the principle of legitimacy is going to be the guiding force behind how things are going to go on during and after the Congress of Vienna. And the general idea here is that in order to have peace and stability, you have to have legitimate monarchs on the throne, key thing being monarchs, and they must remain in control, and we have to have traditional institutions. Okay, we're getting a little old with the whole uprising thing, and a lot of people looked at the French Revolution being the cause of Napoleon, so we don't want to have that happen. And the whole idea is that if there is a problem with this in a country, other nations will intervene in the policy of intervention to make sure that not nobles, but monarchs stay in power. Okay, like for instance, a great idea is that again, right away they reestablish monarchies in France and Spain. Although they do have a couple exceptions. For instance, the Duchy of Warsaw is created instead of giving Poland its actual country, and the Romanovs are actually put in charge of it. So it's not really, hey, you get a free monarch. It's we're going to create like a little zone called Warsaw so that the Poles don't revolt. It really doesn't help anything. But really, you're going to see the big theme in all of this is it's going to be about balance. So let's look at the map here. So what you're going to end up, so you have Russia here, right? And then they're going to be given control of Poland. That's them right there, okay? Now, France is going to lose a bunch of the land. They, of course, had expanded all the way over here if we follow the mouse, so we're going to get rid of that. So Prussia is going to be able to get some more land. We see it over here, okay? And then you also see Britain will get a little bit of land over here in what is modern-day Germany, okay? And then what we have, a couple city-states are created in Italy. You see here Sardinia, Lombardy, Venetia, Parma, Modena, Tuscany, the Papal States, and the Kingdom of Two Sicilies. But you'll see Lombardy, Venetia, and Tuscany, they are basically run by Austria. Okay, and then the Pope runs the Papal States. The Kingdom of the Two Sicilies will be free, and Sardinia will be free, but they're really going to be dominated by France. The Netherlands is quite large. They actually get this southern portion. Basically, the Netherlands prior to this was like above the abbreviation, and then they're now going to get below the abbreviation. And then we're going to basically take this bunch of states right here. You see this kind of pinkish color, the Germanic Confederation. So we're going to take as all these provinces of German-speaking people, and we're going to ram them into one thing. And that's not going to work out in the long run, but that's what we got. Now, the whole idea, though, is to have balance. balance. Okay, let's look back. If you see, I mean, Russia's really big, but no one empire is like super huger than the other one. We're all going to have around the same amount of power. We're all going to make sure that nobody tries to get too much power. So even though Austria, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, Russia, Prussia, and Britain are all in an alliance, and they call themselves the Quadruple Alliance. If one of them get a little squirrely, the other three are going to unite against them. So the whole idea is that we have to keep everybody kind of equal. Then we have to figure out what to do with France. And the first thing that we do, we are going to put the king back in. The monarchy is restored. Okay, and that on the right there is King Louis the 16th. And then we're going to take pretty much all the areas that they expanded into are going to be taken away from them. And then we have a timeout because Napoleon gets out and he's back and we have to fight another war and it lasts 100 days and then he's beaten and now he's gone. Poor Napoleon. Waterloo. Waterloo. Okay, now the armies are kind of mad, and so what they are going to do with France, they're going to take away absolutely every single thing that they expanded into, and they're actually going to take some control away. They're going to take some control away from them of their own land. They're going to make them pay for the war, the equivalent of millions of dollars today, and they're going to have to allow an occupying army to occupy a lot of their country. So you see Russians, Prussians, the British, Austrians. So really very little of France is left alone. I mean, even the Swiss and the Saxons get stuff. I mean, it's kind of terrible for them. But, you know, basically the hammer had to be dropped. And that's it. So that's basically where we're at right here. So understand and remember, go back this concept of balance, these ideas of intervention, and the practice of legitimacy. That's the whole idea here. And we're going to basically, the goal here is to kind of go back to almost this age of absolute monarchs and stuff like that. But as you're going to see, it's not necessarily going to work out. You're going to get some revolutions and we're going to get some foundations for democracies eventually to come. But for right now, we're going to go through a very intensely conservative period. We don't want a lot of rights. We don't want to make a lot of changes. And we're going to see that reflected in a lot of the way that the countries act, okay? All right, make sure you guys take your notes on this type of stuff, and I'll see you in class.